Hirschfeld Century Podcast. I'm Katherine Eastman, Director of Archives at the Al Hirschfeld Foundation.
And I am David Leopold, the Creative Director.
And today we are here to celebrate 250 years of the United States of America, as seen by Hirschfeld, as always. I shouldn't have to say that part, but it's America 250 as seen by Hirschfeld.
Happy birthday, America.
That's right, and many, many more.
Well, not surprisingly, Hirschfeld's whole career documented a good chunk of American history. But we're really going to focus today on shows and films that really have to do with American history.
Sure. Obviously, Hirschfeld drew a lot of historical American figures.
Yes.
And politicians and all of that good stuff. But we really wanted to focus on kind of the story of American history.
Right.
Rather than politicians or things like that. And like you said, through film, plays, musicals, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. American history is seen through popular culture.
Yes. Yeah.
And what is so amazing, that 50 years ago we had the bicentennial. And as the only one on this podcast who was around during that time, it was a big deal.
Big deal.
And
sure.
Everybody talked about it for a year leading up to it. There were the bicentennial minute on TV. So, of course, as I started looking for the drawings for this, the very first drawing of 1976, maybe we just do the whole show on this, because it's January 11th, 1976 in the New York Times, and the drawing is TV historical figures. Mm-hmm. These were actors who were going to be playing American historical figures on television that year, that season. It had Rip Torn as Walt Whitman, Hal Holbrook as Lincoln.
Hold up. Hal Holbrook as Lincoln.
Yeah. Man has already put his, imprint on Mark Twain.
Yeah.
So he got Lincoln.
Interesting.
So Daniel Day-Lewis, not the first one to play Lincoln. Not even the last person to play Lincoln.
Yeah, I was going to say, is Raymond Massey the first one to play Lincoln?
Oh, no. We'll talk about
No,
Raymond
there must
Massey.
be others. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
But
Okay, go ahead. We'll finish the cast because I want to ask what this is exactly.
Well, it's George Grizzard is playing John Adams. Jane Alexander and Edward Herman are playing Eleanor and Franklin Roosevelt. Mm. And what these were TV series. The Eleanor and Franklin was a TV series.
Okay.
Like a mini series. Mm-hmm. And other ones of these were individual shows or they were figures on shows. And I'm sure the Times was writing about in this bicentennial mm-hmm. year, it's you won't be able to escape it in television because it's going to be on television.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful drawing. It's one of two drawings of actors playing Walt Whitman.
Yeah, I can see the other one.
Yeah. And Hal Holbrook, of course, is one of many Lincolns by Hirschfeld. And then, of course, Jane Alexander and Edward Herman is Eleanor and Franklin Roosevelt. I think Franklin Roosevelt may have been the president drawn more by Hirschfeld mm-hmm. than any other.
That's possible.
Yeah.
I would believe that.
Really, mm-hmm. there are a lot of drawings. And
he was a huge Roosevelt fan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Met him. Was in the White House mm-hmm. Oval Office with Franklin Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Much to his chagrin.
Yeah, I was going to say, what did he say? He said, well, he realized he was human, just like everybody else. He was fumbling with his cigarette and
yes.
What did papers fall or something?
Yeah.
And Hirschfeld left saying he was glad he never met Lincoln.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, really.
We're all human.
And that was his first Oval Office visit.
Yes, not his last.
Yeah. But look, we're going to talk about American history, so let's just get right to a little bit after Christopher Columbus, 100 plus years after Christopher Columbus, we have the founding of Roanoke, mm-hmm. the Roanoke colony. And Hirschfeld was not there to draw it, but he did do a drawing of The Lost Colony, which is a summer theater production that has been going on since 1937.
Wow.
In fact, this is one of two shows that stage shows mm-hmm. that Hirschfeld drew that are still being performed.
Wow.
The original production is still being performed. The other one is not included in here, but it could have been because it's Chicago.
Yes.
You know.
The revival of Chicago.
Correct.
is still running.
Drawn in 1996, and that production is still running. So if people ask you if there's a Hirschfeld trivia contest at school, kids, now you can say you know both shows that were drawn by Hirschfeld that are still running.
Exactly. If there's a Hirschfeld trivia event at your school,
Call us.
That's the big qualifier there. Well, this is interesting. The Lost Colony. So this is Roanoke, which is a colony that famously disappeared.
Correct.
They wrote Croatoa on the tree, and no
Yes.
one knows where they went. But I think I saw something a few months ago where they just assimilated. They kind of figured that out by DNA. And this is the baptism of Virginia Dare,
Right.
who is the first English child born in the New World.
Wow.
I'm somewhat of a colonial historian myself. I have a wine. I have a wine of Virginia Dare.
Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
Yes.
A wine? Did you say?
Yeah, I think it's Francis Ford Coppola. Is he the one that did all those wines?
Well, he
has
did
wine, right?
Yeah.
And there's a Virginia Dare wine. I think it's a Chardonnay.
And you have not.
No, I got it for the Virginia Dare, for the historical significance of
You can drink it and then keep the bottle.
I could. I'm not a big Chardonnay fan, so.
Oh, call my wife. She'd be glad to come over.
But anyway, that is what this drawing is depicting.
Yes, and this was part of his summer theater drawings that he started in the early 1930s and would go through the mid-1950s. Almost every year in that time period, there's at least one drawing of summer theater. And of course, there are the great summer theater maps.
Yes, this is
So
an
one year
actual
he went
production.
down to Virginia
Wow.
and captured this.
And is this outside?
Yes.
Yeah.
The amphitheater is actually built on the site of the Roanoke
Of the
colony.
Oh, I did not know that. That's cool.
And it's been a kind of production that so many people have passed through. So many theater people and actors in general have gotten their start there because it's a community production. Well, maybe today it's a equity of some sort. But it started off as a community production. And, Hirschfeld sees it from, he's not in the front row.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you can see a lot of the audience.
Right. Yeah. It's fascinating to find. So we're the start of America.
That's literally, I feel like by bringing that, that's the beginning.
Exactly.
The new world, the people coming to the new world, of course.
Exactly.
Yes.
White people coming to America.
Of course, yes.
And of course, Hirschfeld's there, even if it's not till 1939, but he's there. The next piece of American history is a much different situation. The Crucible.
Yeah.
About the Salem witch trials. That would have been in the later 1600s. Hirschfeld did not draw the original production. Why? Don't know. But he did draw a TV production about 10 years after, in 1967, with George C. Scott and Colleen Dewhurst. And he would get essentially a second bite of the apple in 1973 when he did drawings for the book that he did with Brooks Atkinson, The Lively Years.
Sure.
And you can check out that episode of our podcast on that.
That's a great episode. I like that episode.
That is?
The Lively Years. If I don't say so.
I was going to say. That is a good episode.
The Crucible, though, I feel like that's another kind of American history on a few different levels.
Yes.
In that it's early America, it's the Salem witch trials, but it's also something everybody read in American schools. Yes,
because it's really... it's alluding to McCarthyism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
And it was a very powerful play. I mean, it is a powerful play, and the themes that it talks about, I think you can apply to many different generations.
Definitely.
But when it came out, it was definitely an indictment of McCarthyism.
Sure, no, for sure.
So then we get into more quote unquote contemporary.
And by contemporary, we mean Ben Franklin.
Yes.
And the signing of Declaration of Independence.
Somebody you might have heard of.
Yeah.
So Ben Franklin, he first shows up in a Hirschfeld drawing in 1964 in a musical called Ben Franklin in Paris. And he is sort of one of the founding fathers who's in more than one drawing.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Because he's also in, 5 years later, is 1776.
Naturally.
And
I love 1776.
I just saw a production.
Oh, really?
At the Walnut Street Theater
That's
in
right.
Philadelphia. And it was such an interesting experience because the things that they're talking about literally happen right outside the theater. I mean, it's not, you don't have to go far, like a block, and then you're at Independence Hall.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
So it was weird.
Yeah,
it was,
it's cool to be
delightful.
situated that way.
Yeah. And he would not draw 1776 once. He would draw it twice. The original 1969 production and the 1997 revival.
Of course.
And that was published as a print.
Yeah, that is a print. But never the film, which is...
Never the film, which I did see.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw the...
1776. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a live production of 1776.
You missed it at
Only
the
the
Walnut.
film, yeah. William Daniels as John Adams.
There may be other shows that happened in colonial... in the 1700s. We're not going to go over every one of them.
No, we're picking the highlights.
The highlights.
The important ones, not only for Hirschfeld, or not only for America, but for Hirschfeld as well. We want to get the best stories out here.
Right.
I guess.
So as we move into the 19th century, one of the shows, I think one of the most important shows about that period happens to be Showboat.
Absolutely.
What many consider the first truly integrated musical. My friend Ben West has other ideas.
Let's say we can argue about it later. Don't worry, we'll get to Oklahoma as well.
I'm pretty sure that Al Hirschfeld saw the original production in 1927. He did not draw it, nor did he draw the 1932 revival. The first production that he draws is 1945. An interesting production. Rodgers and Hammerstein produced it, and Jerome Kern had come into town to work on casting. And while walking down the street one day, he has a heart attack. And
Jerome Kern?
Jerome Kern.
Oh no!
And they take him. So the police are called. An ambulance comes, takes him to the hospital. They don't know who he is.
Oh no!
And he is, I think, he's only identified through his ASCAP card, which he has on him.
Okay.
But he was also in town because Rodgers and Hammerstein were going to produce a new musical about Annie Oakley, and Jerome Kern was going to write the music.
Oh, okay.
And when he died, they didn't know what to do because they had everything in place. And so, I mean, it's not an apocryphal story, but I will tell you the very simple version. They don't know who they're going to get. And finally, Rodgers suggests Irving Berlin, and Hammerstein's like, I don't know if we could get him. And they go to Berlin, who is not sure. He's never really done a book show, and he's not so sure about it. But they only have one act written at that time, and he takes it to Atlantic City, and he comes up with Doing What Comes Naturally. I forget what other song. And he comes back and he plays it for Rodgers and Hammerstein, who love it.
Of course. And
they're like, so you'll do it? And he's like, well, I'm not so sure. I don't know how to write for, these country people and Western people. And Hammerstein's like, you drop the G, and then you have it. And finally, Rodgers like, are you in or you're out? And that kind of challenge, I think, works on Berlin. And he's like, he's in. And Berlin, who had been at that point working for close to 30 years, had written some of the most indelible music in American popular song and just American song. It's Annie Get Your Gun that is his most successful Broadway show. In fact, the really almost the only one that gets revived fairly regularly.
Right.
And we'll talk about that. Maybe I'll just jump ahead. When Hirschfeld did an advertisement, a pre-opening advertisement for Annie Get Your Gun, the original production in 1946. And then, of course, he did a cast drawing for the Times. And then he did another drawing in 1948 when Annie Get Your Gun starts its third year.
Wow.
Which
Which
amazing.
at that time I'm sure was quite a long run.
Oh,
was it not?
Very
Yeah,
long run.
yeah.
Very long run. I mean, Oklahoma had been going on, had a very long
okay,
run.
it was still going at that time. 'Cause
I don't know
Oklahoma's
if it's still going. Yeah, it must.
43?
I think it ends in 48.
Okay, wow.
The original run. He does another. Hirschfeld does another drawing, also in 1948, of Indians over Broadway, where it not only has the numbers from Annie Get Your Gun, but the choreographer Helen Tamaris had also had Indians in the review Inside USA.
Okay.
And Hirschfeld does this great drawing with Helen Tamaris and dancers from both shows. And so it's fantastic. And then when the show is revived, really in the mid-1960s, you really, Richard Rodgers revives it at Lincoln Center. And Hirschfeld does the advertisement for it that becomes the poster for the show. And then he does a drawing for the Times. And he would then go on to do the 78 revival, or drawings from, not always cast drawings. The drawing in 78 with Lucy Arnaz as Annie. 99, Bernadette Peters
That's
as
a great
Annie.
one. That was turned into a print as well.
Exactly. Susan Lucci.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and Annie Get Your Gun. That's a color work.
Yes.
And then, of course,
Naturally. Love Reba.
love Reba McEntire.
Another color work.
Yeah, another color work that we published as a performer sign print,
Yes.
in the autograph series that we did with Broadway Cares. And of course, it's a wonderful piece.
It is. It's very, very nice.
But that is a piece of American history. That's talking about the late 1800s.
Yeah, and look at the breadth there, too, from Ethel Merman to Reba McEntire.
Wow.
Like, following that. And you have Lucy Arnaz.
And
And Bernadette Peters. It's just funny.
And then Susan Lucci.
Yeah.
She evidently was very good at it.
Oh, great.
I did a TV show with her once, and when the show concluded, I mean, she was a guest host on this interview show on Fox in New York, and I forget what we were out promoting, but we were promoting it. Maybe it was the Museum of Broadway, and usually, the show ends and the celebrities, they disappear very quickly.
Right.
Susan Lucci just wanted to hang around and talk Hirschfeld.
Oh, that's sweet.
It was actually fantastic.
Yeah.
And
Aw.
she was just so honored to have been drawn by him, and she loved the drawing. And
I assume she has it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She definitely has it.
Oh, how nice.
But there is a piece of 1800s American history that we haven't touched on, and he is probably the second most drawn U.S. president. And that would be Abraham Lincoln.
Yes.
The show in 1938 is Abe Lincoln in Illinois. Abe Lincoln is played by Raymond Massey. And he did it so well, George Kaufman once wrote that Raymond Massey wouldn't be happy until he was assassinated.
That's funny.
I think Massey is the actor drawn the most in one particular role.
Man.
Yes. But the actress that has been drawn in the same role more than any other for stage productions is, I think, Julie Andrews in My Fair Lady.
That I would believe that as well.
Yeah.
I would believe that as well.
And like Eliza Doolittle's, there were other Eliza Doolittle's that Hirschfeld drew. Hirschfeld drew other Abraham Lincolns.
Unheard of.
Well, Sam Waterston played Abe Lincoln in Illinois at Lincoln Center in 1993. There's a drawing
That's
of
a
that.
great drawing.
But I think the best drawing of Abraham Lincoln.
Ooh.
as
Oh, I know what you're going to say. Yes.
Roy Dotrice.
Yes. This is a Friday drawing.
It's a
and
Friday.
It is a great drawing. Yeah.
One-man show.
Yeah.
That started actually in Ford's Theater.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and came to Broadway from there.
How is the play, Mrs. Lincoln?
Yeah. Well, actually, so Ford's Theater wanted to do a play about Lincoln, and they read through dozens of scripts. And they came across this play just called Mr. Lincoln, and they thought it was great. And they asked Roy Dotrice to do it, and he was great. And I have to believe that Hirschfeld thought he was Abraham Lincoln because the drawing is so good.
It's Lincoln. Yeah.
And as
It could
only
pass. It could pass
only
for
drawn by Hirschfeld.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a great drawing.
really great.
I'd just like to plug Hirschfeld's sculpture of Lincoln,
Oh yeah,
which he did as a very young man.
Yeah, very
We
teenager.
can throw a picture of that in there.
Yeah, so that's
Very
true.
nice. It's very nice as far as a sculpture.
So
of
Lincoln and FDR, those are definitely the presidents that were drawn the most.
Yeah.
I feel very
Two
confident in that.
titans.
Two titans.
I mean, it makes sense.
FDR only made it onto a coin, though.
True.
Yeah. And of course, Hirschfeld had not only a sculpture of Abraham Lincoln in his studio, but a sign on his bookshelf that
Oh,
said,
yes. Remember, it was an actor who killed Lincoln.
That's correct.
We have that. I see that a lot in our storage facility. It's
Yes.
hanging up.
We have it up there still.
We should sell those. We could put that as merch on our shop.
We should do that.
And we could put a Hirschfeld of Abe Lincoln on it.
The Roy Dodgers.
Or what about a T-shirt? Do you think people would wear that?
I think we should.
Something alluding to the Lincoln assassination?
Uh,
I don't know. I would put that up in my house.
we could do a whole Assassins line.
Assassin's line. I like it.
It's
I
getting
like
better.
it. Now we're talking. What?
Coming
The
soon.
gun? The gun? Victor Garber? Wow.
In any event, there are two other drawings I thought from the 19th century
Yep,
history that
I'm
we
ready.
should talk about.
Okay.
And a familiar name shows up again, Irving Berlin. He writes a musical called Miss Liberty.
Oh, yes. This is a great drawing.
It is a great drawing, not a great show. It was about the making of the Statue of Liberty, and when it comes to New York, the sort of newspaper war that goes on about it. But so many great people were involved. Irving Berlin wrote the songs. Robert Sherwood wrote the book. Jerome Robbins did the dances. Moss Hart was the director.
Wow. This is a swing in the dream type cast.
And Alan Ann McCleary was the female lead, and she said, "Now we know how many geniuses it takes to make a turkey." That always kills me.
So did it flop?
It didn't flop.
It just
it was
didn't.
originally supposed to open on Broadway July 4th, 1949, and it wasn't ready. It was in Philadelphia, and it wasn't ready. And they were really trying to get it ready, but unfortunately, Robert Sherwood did not really know how to revise a book or make it better.
Okay.
And he was a real stumbling block in the whole situation. So it opened, I think, a week later. It had a big advance, and I think it ran for a year.
Oh.
But it was never a big hit.
Yeah.
And
no one
not
does it.
surprisingly, you never see revivals of it.
Gotcha. Interesting.
It's it's funny. The other musical that dates from this period, the 1800s, was by another titan of the American theater and American music, Leonard Bernstein. This was 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah, oh, yes.
This was about the building, the creation of the White House.
Naturally.
From the late 1700s into
Isn't
the 1800s.
that interesting? Like two musicals about these American landmarks, about the making of
Right.
these American landmarks. That's so
Well,
funny.
when Berlin did Miss Liberty, there was definitely a vogue for American history on the Broadway stage.
And what's the year of that?
1949.
49. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows. Paint Your Wagon.
So it's after the war.
Yeah,
people
it's
are
after the
feeling
war,
good.
and people,
Yeah.
Oklahoma
The
starts
50s
this.
are among us. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're good.
I mean-
prosperity is near.
American history is embraced.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
the Depression, you see American history
Yeah.
being put in New Deal, post office murals as a way to tell people we've struggled, we've gone
We
through
will
it before.
overcome, yeah.
And then with it's same thing during World War II, and then after World War II, it's like
Yeah.
this is our history
Yeah.
and we're proud of it. And
Yeah.
so there's a real, like I said, a real vogue at that time for doing American history on stage.
Interesting.
But by 1976, when Bernstein writes 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, it is not a great show. And it closes in 4 days.
Oh.
Yeah. And eventually they would come up, Bernstein would sort of condense the music into the White House cantata.
Oh, okay.
But that show is never revived. And even though it's a fascinating show because it doesn't just tell the story of the white people who live there, but also the black people who live there. And I think with a little bit more time, it might have worked.
Yeah.
But it never. It's Bernstein's last Broadway show.
Oh, interesting.
Alan J. Lerner of My Fair Lady fame wrote the book to it.
Gotcha.
And no, unsuccessful on so many levels. So let's move into the 1900s.
I'm ready. 20th century.
The first one I have is a show, Teddy and Alice. This is about Teddy Roosevelt and his daughter Alice. Len Cariou as Teddy Roosevelt. In the drawing, holding the flag. Seems like it would have been has all the elements of a hit, and it was not.
I'm sensing a theme.
Yes. A couple years ago, there was an article in the Dallas newspaper about someone having this original drawing and that it had color on it.
Yes.
And I was very surprised to see this. The writer had contacted us with questions, and I said, "Well, send me a picture of it." And it was somebody who had redrawn the drawing and added color to it. I said, "This is not a Hirschfeld. This is based on Hirschfeld's drawing." The article had already been printed. And I said, "You've got to issue a correction."
Yeah.
Never happened.
Jeez.
Folks, you cannot believe everything that you read.
Truly. Especially something with a redrawing. Like, if you know what any of our fans, I feel like, could look at it.
Yeah.
And if you looked closely enough, you would know right away.
I think Hirschfeld's line is very distinctive.
Yes.
You don't have to be so well versed in his work to recognize it right away. Yes, it was a good story if it had been true, and that's why they ran it. And it's unfortunate.
It is a great drawing, though.
Yeah. The next one I had on my list, and of course this isn't a specific year. It's a big hit on Broadway today. Ragtime.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
big hit.
Real turn of the century show.
That's such a great show it's just a time capsule for a very specific time and place in American history.
Right.
Yeah.
And what is so remarkable was it was a pretty big hit in 98. And then to have it, almost 30 years later, and it's a big hit today. I mean, it would be running much longer if they hadn't already booked the theater for something else.
Yeah.
So
it's show business, baby.
That is it, exactly. So other shows that have to do, here's a related one that I would put with Ragtime. And strangely enough, it's got a very similar title, Rags.
Oh.
With Teresa Stratas, this opera singer. And it is a story. It's a story about immigrants coming to America. The drawing has the Statue of Liberty in it. And it should have been, it had all the elements of a hit. And it too ran for only 4 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the show from the early 1900s that had a much longer run was Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Hirschfeld, of course, famously drew the original production. Not sure if it was going to be making it into New York, so he drew it with the Ziegfeld Follies of 1943. Right. He did a much better drawing, I think, of the show in 1969.
That's the one with Margaret Hamilton.
Correct.
That's a very nice drawing of Oklahoma.
Really. And you really see, and he's got the Agnes DeMille dancers in there, and it's a really nice one. And then in 2002, he does a great color version of a production on Broadway that I saw with Patrick Wilson.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great drawing.
That
must be one of his final. I mean, it's 2002, is it not?
Yes, it's February 2002.
Okay. But the final year of his life.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it's a great drawing. I mean, that is a great composite.
I had agreed to talk about the show to a group that was coming from Bucks County, home of Oscar Hammerstein.
This is in 2002.
2002. Okay. It had just opened on Broadway. This is May 2002. And my wife and I had a child in March of 2002.
Oh, wow.
And, of course, we were staying close to home, but my wife, Laura, really loves Oklahoma.
Yes.
If
you need to know one thing about David's wife, she does love Oklahoma. Yes.
So she wanted to see the production. But she was a new mother. She hadn't been separated from her child yet. But so I rode up on a bus with this group. And, as we got close to it, I started telling stories about the original production of Oklahoma and the history of it and, what its connection to Bucks County was and all that stuff. My wife went in a car with my mother, and they drove to my aunt's apartment in New York, where Laura left our son with his grandmother and his great-great-aunt.
Oh, my gosh.
And we went to the show. And then after the show, we came back to the apartment, and we gathered my mother and our son, and we went up to the Hirschfelds.
Oh, that's
because
so fun.
Al and Louise wanted to meet the latest member of the family.
Of course.
And I'll never forget, we come up, of course, Hirschfeld's at his drawing table on the fourth floor, and we bring this little, well, he was never little. I mean, Henry was born at 9.5 pounds. Oh, and by May, he was probably like 15
pounds.
He was so big.
Massive baby.
He grew into it. But at the time,
he's a tall boy.
Yeah.
He's a tall man.
Yes.
I don't want to say he's a large man. He's not a large man, but he is very tall.
The rare tall Leopold.
Yes,
is what we say.
The elusive.
Only one.
Rare breed.
And so we bring Henry up to the studio, and my mother presents Henry to Hirschfeld, who takes him.
Physically.
Yes, physically. And Hirschfeld holds him, looks down at him, and says, "So, Henry, how do you like New York City?"
Oh, that's so sweet.
It was. And there I was thinking, here's a guy who's about to be, he's 99.
He's 99, yeah.
And here's a kid who is, he was 2 months old.
Yeah, 9 weeks old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, and yet they were communicating.
Yeah.
And it was very, very sweet.
That's sweet.
So I have only pleasant associations with that 2002 Oklahoma production.
Oh.
So other early 20th century history, this really isn't history, but it's an individual who I think is so important in early 20th century, George M. Cohan.
Especially in entertainment.
Hirschfeld drew Cohan twice in the 1930s in shows, but when I think of George M. Cohan in terms of Hirschfeld, I think of George
Gray.
M.
Oh, I said Joel Gray.
Yes.
Which is not wrong.
Which is not wrong.
George M.
Just to be, for those listening, no, Katherine did not get it wrong.
Well, tell us about George M. Cohan, because I feel like not everybody would know.
So George M. Cohan, before Irving Berlin, he was essentially Mr. American Song. He writes the songs that everybody sings.
Even before Irving Berlin?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
no.
Wow, okay.
Irving Berlin strives to be George M. Cohan.
I see.
And also, George M. Cohan writes a series of very successful shows. He also does parodies of other Broadway shows. But more importantly, he embodies the character of Broadway. The sort of tough, wisecracking, but also sensitive and warm and funny and good voice and everything. That element of what Broadway was at that time is embodied by George M. Cohan. And when he dies in 1942, Irving Berlin suggests that they build a statue to him. And at first, there's this big committee full of all kinds of important people who are like, we're going to take this on and raise the money for it. And they are unsuccessful. And it's Irving Berlin who pays the money to erect the statue of George M. Cohan that you see in Times Square today.
Right.
So, and Joel Gray capturing him, for a previous generation, it was James Cagney in Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Okay.
But for the succeeding generation, it was Joel Gray. And funny enough, Hirschfeld draws Joel Gray in the original stage production in 1968. And then 2 years later, there's a TV production. And that drawing includes other members of the cast, including a young performer who's getting her first drawing,
Wow.
Bernadette Peters.
Wow, that's crazy.
So let's go on to the 1920s and 30s.
Okay.
The first drawing I have is not really history, but I think it's a fun drawing. It's Irene Franklin as the Spirit of America in Sweet Adeline. And she's not anything other than a sort of diva in the Bowery who puts on this costume. And Sweet Adeline was a fun show. The star of it was Charlie Butterworth, who you might know from Hirschfeld drawings. He's in every scene. And it's a lot of fun. Not a great show, but a fun show at the time.
And this is a great drawing, though.
Yes.
This is such a fun drawing of her.
Yes. And then we jump to, well, the Depression hits. And, not necessarily fun.
The Depression hits, and Hirschfeld was feeling depressed. So he packs up his bags and...
Well, he doesn't go right away. When the Depression, the crash starts in October of 1929. And by late 1931 is when Hirschfeld leaves to go to Tahiti before he famously ends up in Bali in February 1932.
Right.
But the Depression is probably in a number of plays, but the one play that I think most people know today is Annie.
Of course, naturally.
And that has really sort of symbolized the Depression, I think, for a certain generation of theater kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I think still. Yeah,
yes.
Still, for sure. Yeah.
And in there, I don't know if we count this as a drawing of FDR, but Raymond Thorne played FDR in the original stage production.
I think if we're counting Raymond Massey as Portraits of Lincoln, then we should count this as...
True.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good point. Good point. Decreed.
It's a great, it's a great FDR, too. I mean, it actually looks just like FDR.
Yeah. Well, it kind of reminds me of Edwin Herman as FDR. If you look at those two drawings,
oh yeah,
they have a similar feel to them.
They do. They're close. They're just a little bit off. No, but Annie that's a great American show, again, about an important time in American history.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a history show.
Right, but you still get like you just said, like it is the Depression for a lot of theater kids or even non-theater kids,
Well, you get to, it's a way to tell people about the Depression.
Yeah. With song and dance.
As one does.
With the Depression, song and dance.
Yeah. I think Hirschfeld probably sang Hard Knock Life before he went off to Tahiti.
I don't think so. That wasn't written yet.
But it's a little bit political, but it is really sort of American. In 1932, there is a new musical written by George Kaufman and Maury Riskin and two brothers you may have heard of, the Gershwins. And the show is Of Thee I Sing.
Oh, yes.
And it's a huge hit. And it wins the Pulitzer Prize for drama, of which all those four creatives get a Pulitzer except George Gershwin, since he only wrote the music.
Wow.
Yeah. So
okay.
Ira Gershwin could say that he won a Pulitzer, but George Gershwin could not. Now, Hirschfeld did not draw the original production of Thee I Sing. He may have very well still been in Bali when the show opened. In fact, I'm pretty sure he was.
He was there a while.
He does do a version of it. It's revived in 1952, 30 years after it's originally done. And that's a pretty fun drawing. And then he did a TV production 40 years after it premieres, in 1972, that starred Carol O'Connor, who people would know from All in the Family, Michelle Lee, Love Bug. She was famous for the Love Bug, but she was, and now I'm speaking another language. My co-host here is looking at me like...
I know the Love Boat. I don't know the Love Bug.
She was in many other things. Don't get me wrong.
I believe you.
Lee was in is a wonderful performer and person. And Jack Gilford, Cloris Leachman is his only drawing of Cloris Leachman, is in this TV production of Thee I Sing. And then there was a revival, not revival, there was a sequel called Let 'Em Eat Cake in 1933. Now, Hirschfeld did draw that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that show was not a success and is very rarely done. Although I just learned that Opera Philadelphia is going to do a production of Let 'Em Eat Cake this fall.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm excited about that because I don't know the show and I don't know the score that well. So I'm gonna make sure I go to see that one.
Gotcha.
Hirschfeld did a cast drawing of it, but he also did a drawing of just Victor Moore, who played a vice president Throttlebottom. The joke in Of Thee I Sing and also in Let 'Em Eat Cake is the vice president doesn't do anything. And Victor Moore, who's this sort of bumbling comic character, is kind of always in the wrong place at the wrong time, doing the wrong thing.
Shooting people in the face.
Yeah.
Vice president stuff.
No comment. So that was very much a 30s production. Actually, it has a little bit of an Irving Berlin connection, because the show takes place in the Music Box Theater that Irving Berlin not only built, but he owned at the time that the show was in there. So while he had another show on at that time, first Face the Music and then As Thousands Cheer, he would have liked to have put them in his own theater, but since he had a show there that was doing very good business, he wasn't that unhappy.
Sure. We're going to have to get like the maps the crime detectives use with all the pins and the strings of like all these 1930s and 40s American musicals that all involved Gershwin, Berlin,
Yes.
Mosshart. Like we're gonna have to, because all of my wires are crossed. And whose theaters is whose? It's
Irving
lot
Berlin's
going
going
on.
to keep coming up.
Oh boy, we're not done. Oh,
No, he because after Annie Get Your Gun, all of his, Louisiana Purchase in 1941, which is not about the Louisiana Purchase. It just uses that title.
Okay.
But after that, all of his shows are about American history. And we'll talk about them when we get there. But let's get back to the 1930s. I was just talking about As Thousands Cheer, and in there was a skit about Mr. and Mrs. Herbert Hoover leaving the White House, to get, for Roosevelt. And Hirschfeld did a drawing in December of 1933 that was representatives of 5 smash hits on the December stage. And there was somebody from Eugene O'Neill's Wilderness and other shows. And in the center of it are Leslie Adams and Helen Broderick as Mr. and Mrs. Herbert Hoover from As Thousands Cheer. The same year, 1933, Hirschfeld draws The 9 Old Men of the Supreme Court, not a Broadway show, but connected to it.
Real life.
Yeah, the actual men who sat on the Supreme Court. He did it for Vanity Fair, published it as a print, and then a few years later did a different version of it, also published it as a print. Probably his most successful lithograph of the period.
Probably.
Yeah.
I would hang one of those up.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would knock you over. And
I was about to say, if I can outbid David for one, I would hang one up.
But the 9 Old Men of the Supreme Court also show up in Hirschfeld's drawings. In that production of the 1952 production of Thee I Sing, you see him in the background. But there's a much more a contemporaneous one, which is in 1938. There's a show on Broadway called I'd Rather Be Right. It's the only collaboration between Rodgers and Hart and Kaufman and Hart. Actually, George M. Cohan played Franklin Roosevelt in the show. First time an American president is portrayed on Broadway in anything other than a history situation. This was a fantasy about a boy and a girl who want to get married, but it's the Depression and they don't really have the money to do it. They fall asleep in Central Park, and the whole show is a dream they have in which Roosevelt gets involved and the 9 old men of the Supreme Court come out, and Hirschfeld shows them as they are in the show dancing around and being ridiculous, to be honest
sounds like
with
a
you.
fun show. It feels very Sweet By and By.
Yes.
The falling asleep in Central Park makes me think of the tree.
The tree surgeon.
Yeah.
That was Brian Park.
Oh, Brian Park. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a similar vibe.
So in the 1940s, Hirschfeld actually does drawings, if not necessarily for the government, but about government activities. For the WPA had a National Art Week, and he did a poster for that. And then really crazy stuff. We've only found these recently. In 1943, maybe a little bit earlier, Billy Rose proposes a series of ideas to the U.S. Army about how to entertain troops, different ways that they could do it. And in his proposal, he gets his good friend Al Hirschfeld to do drawings of what it looks like. So there's a miniature theater for the Army. There's a mobile cabaret canteen, or a show that would be taken around on a Jeep. And they're really actually wonderful, detailed drawings. They're Hirschfeld drawings, but they're not simple. They're actually pretty detailed.
Yeah, they're blueprints. They're
They're illustrations,
ideas.
really.
Yeah. And they're all great ideas. I like the Jeep show.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that it never happened, but I don't know if it happened the way that Billy Rose had intended. But it's fascinating that he did that, and we did not know about these. A fellow was writing a biography of Billy Rose, and he sent us this material, and I was thrilled.
I think we should mention in the 40s his famous portrait of FDR.
Yeah, no, I was just.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, tell that story then.
So the last piece, really, for the government that he does in the 40s is in 1944. He does a drawing of FDR on the cover of The Nation, and it's a great drawing. If you've ever seen any drawing of FDR by Hirschfeld, you've probably seen this one.
This is the one, yes.
You know, he's got his fingers up in the victory sign. And
it's a great one.
It's a great one. Evidently, the Roosevelt administration felt the same way. And Hirschfeld was invited to the Oval Office, where he gave the drawing to Roosevelt, and it was intended to go on the USS FDR. I mean, the drawing itself, there wasn't going to be a gallery. They were literally going to put it on the side on the ship.
Yeah.
We don't have any photos of that. I've looked for them.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure it was ever done, but that was the
intent.
That was the intent. So when we talk about American history in the 40s, Hirschfeld was really part of it. Rather, I mean,
as so many were.
Right.
Yeah.
It's exactly. It's how he served. He was too young for World War I, too old for World War II. But Hirschfeld did a lot during the war. He went to hospitals and drew, did these wonderful caricatures of soldiers who were in their beds, right there, and gave it to them. And there's an article we have from a newspaper where he's going out with a couple of different artists, and they're talking about it. Yeah. And he does other things for other battalions, and he was a supportive American. Is what I would say. And we can't go over everyone. I'm going to jump to the 1960s. While there is an Irving Berlin musical, Mr. President, because when is there not an Irving Berlin musical?
I feel like Irving Berlin is just not represented in this episode very well.
Well, he God bless America.
Yeah, for good reason.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
But one that I thought you would think of as very important, The Missiles of October.
Yes.
This is a TV movie about the missile crisis in Cuba. And Hirschfeld does a great drawing of the actors in it. The only one who I think looks like the person he's supposed to do is your boy, Bobby Kennedy.
Of course. I mean, it really does. It's actually like a great portrait of Bobby Kennedy, even though it's not
one of only
Bobby.
two.
Are there only two drawings?
Yeah.
Another one that, the 68.
The 68 presidential candidates. Yeah.
That's a good one, too, though.
Yeah.
He's got a very distinctive look.
He does.
And
hair.
Yeah, and hair. The hair helps. The hair and the teeth help.
Right. That is literally what it comes down to.
I think, is it Martin Sheen playing him? Yeah.
Yeah.
He loved Bobby.
Yeah.
He was a big Bobby fan, and yeah.
So I think he played it more than once.
He probably did because his son Emilio Estevez did the 2006 movie Bobby.
Oh, right.
And Martin Sheen and Emilio were both in that movie.
Oh, wow.
About Bobby Kennedy, about the assassination. So I know too much about Titanic and Bobby Kennedy.
Among other things.
Yeah.
We're hoping that includes one day the work that you do here.
One day it will cross over. Speaking of the Kennedys, though, we also get a lovely portrait of Jackie.
Yes.
A woman, an actress playing her, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Margaret Collin in a show called Jackie: An American Life.
Is that a one-woman show?
It was not a one-woman
okay.
show.
Just curious.
Yeah. That would be interesting,
Yeah.
actually.
You could do it that way.
Hey, playwrights out there,
way.
we've got a great idea for you. Jackie Kennedy Onassis.
But you know what? Just
show.
like we were just talking about the one of Bobby, you wouldn't know this is not an actual portrait of Jackie Kennedy.
Right.
It looks, I mean, he's really portrayed her as Jackie.
Right.
And she has as well. Margaret Collin has embodied Jackie so much that.
And it's Jackie
really
of the Kennedy years.
Yes. Not Jackie O.
Because he did a drawing of John and Jackie Kennedy. It's for some advertisement. They're just amongst.
The CBS?
No, it's not CBS.
CBS News.
It's
okay.
Pearl Mesta Throws a Party.
Oh, yes.
And he would draw Jackie again, I think in a A&E biography.
Yes, she is.
And then he does an individual portrait
right.
of her very late in the game.
Okay.
Somebody commissioned a portrait of Jackie Onassis. Who I'm sure he knew socially. You know, they would have been at parties together. And I mean, he knew Kennedy when he was a senator. Before he was a senator, actually.
Senator from Massachusetts.
And then I don't think we could do a show like this without talking about Angels in America, which is American history. Unfortunately, I feel like I lived through part of that, so I feel the age creeping up on me.
No.
But it is that the two parts of Angel in America really capture a slice of American life in sort of second half of the 20th century through this lens of gay men and what they go through.
Right.
And all the different variations of that. And when those shows first opened, they were so powerful. It's hard to understand today, but they were just so important at the time. And Hirschfeld did a great drawing, which was also turned into, published as a lithograph. And then the following year, he did something much more insubstantial.
Tonally much different
Yes.
from Angels in America.
It was the show Politically Incorrect, and it was Jackie Mason. And Jackie Mason had made a big hit on Broadway in the mid-1980s in a show called The World According to Me,
right.
which very famously had a poster by Hirschfeld.
Naturally.
And in the 80s, you could not escape Hirschfeld's drawing of Jackie Mason. It was in the newspaper. It was on signs. It was plastered on
everywhere.
Posters in New York. And there it was. And so I'm sure he's got a new show. He's going to get Hirschfeld to do the drawing. And this time, Hirschfeld draws the Mount Rushmore and replaces Teddy Roosevelt with Jackie Mason.
Is this the only Mount Rushmore drawing?
It is the only Mount Rushmore.
I was just curious. There's no North by Northwest.
There's no North by Northwest.
Yeah.
And it doesn't show up in any other drawing.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything that would sort of allude to it.
Just curious.
So it's not every show that he did.
Yeah.
We decided we did not want to make this episode 3 hours long.
No, because there are lots of things that we did leave out, not only in musical plays, television, film history, but all of the politicians, all of the important moments in American history, like Johnson inaugural and Eisenhower inaugural.
I mean, he does a whole book of illustrations on My Year in the White House Doghouse.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about My Year in the White House Doghouse.
And not a significant part of Hirschfeld's career.
No, but it's one that probably no one knows.
Drawn more dogs in there than
Lots of dogs. Yep.
But so Johnson comes up like fourth or something.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Most drawn. So what would be better to close out this podcast, but to talk about a drawing of the American flag?
Yes.
And it's significant because it's also the last TV guide cover that
yeah.
Hirschfeld draws. And you're thinking, I didn't realize the American flag had a TV show. And it did not. No. It was a cover of TV Guide after 9/11. And actually, the original artwork was auctioned off to, I think it went to first responders or survivors. It was used to raise money for victims of 9/11. And I mean, it's a wonderful piece, wonderful color piece by Hirschfeld that is both sort of optimistic and somber at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's a sentimental kind of
reverential.
Just like we were talking about Hirschfeld, how he served in World War II. This is kind of his contribution to rebuilding after 9/11.
And he was very much interested in that.
I mean, as a lifelong New Yorker, that had to have been important to him.
Without a doubt. Although I do remember he had an exhibition opening up just about a month after 9/11.
Oh, the Harlem situation all over again.
Yeah. It's at the Museum of the City of New York. It's called Hirschfeld's New York.
Yeah.
And I so remember this because it just struck me as Hirschfeld comes in and there were press there. And usually it's questions about Nina or there's some show on Broadway.
Same old, yeah.
Now everyone's asking him about 9/11. Like, what's Hirschfeld's take on 9/11?
Oh, interesting.
And, I mean, it was weird.
Yeah.
Will New York ever be the same after 9/11? And, that type of thing. And, I mean, Hirschfeld, I forget what he said. It was not memorable. But it was also, it wasn't like he didn't make fun of it.
No. He would have said something very Hirschfeld. Yeah.
Right. He acknowledged it, but he wasn't trying to do anything with it.
Right.
And I always thought that the show was great because this was exactly the kind of tonic that New York needed after experiencing such a drastic attack.
Yeah. I think I don't know if we were talking about this, but Friends stopped filming for like 2 weeks or something, and they didn't know how to come back, and they were like, "No, we have to."
Yeah.
We have to come back as normal because that's what everybody needs right now.
And Broadway, was closed for a couple of days, and then it came back, and it was a big deal.
Yeah.
They wanted to be there for everybody.
Yeah.
And that was very much the feeling at the time. Like, we're not going to let this stop us.
Right. We have to continue.
So it's interesting when the American history that we're talking about is ones that we've lived through.
Yes, I know. I have very vivid memories of 9/11.
Yeah, sure. And so that's a fitting place to end it. There are many wonderful pieces here. We didn't even talk about Assassins.
Oh, how did we forget Assassins? I haven't talked about Victor Garber at all. My God.
Rewind, everybody. We're doing the show again. But of course, that is a
conglomerate, composite, true composite of American history,
and not the one we like to celebrate.
No.
But very much a piece of American history.
Absolutely.
And I remember it's featured in Hirschfeld Sondheim, the book. And as I was researching on it, originally they thought, we're going to do assassins from all different parts of world history. But there were so many.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've got to put some parameters on this.
And then they realized that they could tell a better story if there were unfortunately so many presidential assassins that they could tell a better story just focusing on those. And arguably they did.
Yeah.
And that show opened soon after, I think, the invasion of Kuwait.
I was going to say, is it 91?
Yeah.
As Assassins?
And it does suffer that, how could you say anything bad about America at this time? Yeah. Which is a shame because it's a great show.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, write us and tell us all the shows we missed, and if there's enough, we'll do another episode.
Sure.
Or
Yeah.
if you write in and say, here's a show, please don't do another episode, we will also not do another episode.
No, we wanted to be here to celebrate, again, American history as seen by Hirschfeld, and just little moments or shows that, played a part.
And what are you doing for the 4th?
Oh, I am going to visit my father with my son. He's going to see his grandfather and his great-grandmother.
Wow.
In Western New York.
Wow. Do you think they'll have good fireworks up there?
I think my dad will have good fireworks. It's that type of gathering.
Wow. That kind of father.
It's that kind of gathering. There will be four-wheelers, there will be fireworks, and there will be another, I don't know.
Well, here's hoping everybody comes home with their fingers.
Yes.
We're going to have fireworks at our place. We are doing a colonial costume party.
I am very disappointed to miss it.
Yeah.
I'm very sad to miss it.
But
I might just have to show up to work when I come back in my costume I was going to wear.
Anytime. You can come in at any time.
Perfect. In my colonial.
Yeah.
I might just, my hair is long and I've got red hair. I was thinking about doing a Thomas Jefferson type.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think?
Oh, I'm totally all over it. We'd be wearing kind of the same thing. Huh?
Oh, okay.
I'm basing my costume on John Singleton Copley's portrait of Paul Revere.
Okay.
I figure it's the summertime, and I don't want to go all out Hamilton.
You don't want to go to Governor's Winter Ball or anything like that.
Yeah. There's some great costumes that you can get but it just all the things look very heavy,
It's
and I just thought I'm not gonna.
I don't know how they did it.
Well, they didn't have anything they didn't know anything different.
I guess so. It's just like, take your clothes off. Don't wear as many clothes.
Oh, as a woman, you would have been wearing a lot.
Yes,
of
I know. Yes,
You
that sounds so hot.
Yeah.
4th of July, full colonial garb. Ugh.
Well, at our place, you will be able to do it.
Yeah.
You indulge your colonial.
No, that'll be so much fun.
Yeah,
and so appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And we hope everyone else has a great July 4th.
Yes. And safe.
Safe, please.
Please.
Come back with all your fingers and toes, arms and legs. That's very important to us.
Yeah.
But, it's a great time to celebrate the country in the sense that America is the only place that I think could have produced a Hirschfeld.
That's true. Yeah. It's
and
the only place that did produce a
Well, I always say Hirschfeld is the classic American artist because he's this melting pot of influences from all kinds of places.
His parents were immigrants.
His parents were immigrants. Well, his mother was an immigrant.
Okay.
But you get Mexico and Bali, Japan, and the French line through John Held, and there's so many international influences that go into this style that becomes distinctly American.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
so true.
instantly recognizable.
Well, that was a great tour of American history. Thank you all so much for listening. You can find us everywhere on the internet, as it were. Facebook, the Al Hirschfeld Foundation, our YouTube, our Instagram account at Al Hirschfeld, TikTok, all the things.
Yes.
Our website, alhirschfeldfoundation.org. You can find any drawing that he's ever done, look everything up, look up all the shows we didn't tell you about. Of course, look in the show notes for the ones we did talk about. Our shop, alhirschfeldfoundationshop.org, where you can get hand-signed limited edition prints, fine art, as well as really cool merch like a Elvis Presley 15-ounce mug, or our top seller, Jerry Garcia, of course.
Or if you're looking for your Alexander Woolcott t-shirt.
That's true.
You can only get it.
We're looking at you, Brad Solo. Get your Alexander Woolcott shirt. Please rate and review us wherever you are listening to this podcast. It greatly helps us be seen by people who don't know about the podcast. So please share, like, and review the podcast so we can get more listeners and share the Hirschfeld wealth with everybody.
Without a doubt. And if you want signed copies of Hirschfeld's Sondheim or Hirschfeld's Icons, The only
Or
place.
The American Theater, as seen by Hirschfeld, Volume 2.
Yes. Yes, that's true. 1962
to 2002. Those are also on our shop, Al Hirschfeld Foundation shop.org.
Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you when we do.
Thank you. Bye.